Where are we going today, Captain?
We're going to Tewkesbury after getting some water. So I'm just looking whether to get this water point just here if it's not busy, or there'll be another water point at Strensham. So we've got options.
We're in book 2 of the Nicholson's guides. These are the map books we use to navigate while we're cruising. And in this episode we'll be leaving Pershore and heading southwest on the River Avon towards Tewkesbury. This is a 14-mile journey, over 3 pages in the book. It's not a very direct journey at all, following the course of the River Avon, taking us through some very different locks with quirky features. Over the page again for the last leg of the journey to Tewkesbury. Canal Plan estimates the time to be about 4 hours and 35 minutes. A lot of duck activity here this morning. Ready to cruise, everybody? How do you rate that facility?
1.
Worse than Saxelby?
On a par.
Coffee and cake for 11's. Pete's mum made him this lovely fruit cake for his birthday, which is tomorrow. So we're sort of eating birthday cake early, but that's allowed. Nothing for dogs, Hamish. You want cake? You want cake, don't you? You just left Pershore.
Yeah, nice little stop, wasn't it?
We loved it.
Just
Loved
24
Pershore.
hours. Nice recreation ground. Big Asda shop. A few pubs and things. It's a nice little town, isn't it?
Lovely little town, isn't it? Yeah.
So we're heading to Tewkesbury now.
I think we could have stayed longer, couldn't we? But we're just very conscious of getting off the Avon and the Severn before the end of the month.
We really want to be able to get off the Avon onto the Severn and then go down to Gloucester and then the Sharpness, Gloucester and Sharpness Canal, and then back up and back onto the canals really by end of August, beginning of September latest, really, don't we? Just before the weather turns.
Yeah, we don't want to be stuck by rising waters on the river so that we can't move, do we?
No, definitely not.
That's the plan anyway.
Just use the facilities out at Pershore.
And we're just heading for the lock.
Adequate.
1 out of 10. You give me the 1 out of 10. That's not good.
Well, adequate for emptying your cassette and filling with water. Anyway, so yeah, no, it's a good little stop. Recommend staying there.
Definitely.
We'll do it again, won't we? It's
Definitely.
Good.
Another windy day, and it's very grey and quite cool, really. These gates are really heavy and stiff. So this is really unusual. A ground paddle that's halfway up the lock. And it says to fill the lock, fully open this paddle first, allow the lock to fill until the top gate paddles are submerged. Then open the top gate paddles. So it says don't open the gate paddles until the paddles are submerged. You can see the paddle there on the right hand side, the gap in the gate, square gap. It's another beautiful house with down to the river. Seen such beautiful properties along the Avon. You can hear Hamish barking. He doesn't like it when he thinks he's been left on his own on the boat. Pete the engineer will explain the mechanism now of this gate paddle.
Well, it's different to what we see on the canals, isn't it? Usually it's a straightforward mechanical wind and a ratchet. We've got that here, but there's actually a counterweight, so there's a big cowbell looking weight hanging on a chain over a pulley and then going up to the top. So that weight's coming up and down as the paddles drop. It kind of offsets the weight of the paddle a bit, makes it less heavy to crank the paddle up or down.
Oh, actually, okay, so they are actually quite easy to wind, aren't they?
Yeah, because they're obviously big paddles and heavy, and that's helping you draw it up.
So now you know.
Yeah.
So the gate paddles in the top gate are submerged now, so we're going to open the gate paddle. Just remembering to close this ground paddle as well before I open the bottom gates. Very short pontoon here for the lock landing, so Pete had to let that guy leave before he could pull over to let me on. Just one boat length.
Place.
You want to go down, boy? For how long? 30 seconds. Let's see. Some American holiday makers out on a rental boat.
Arches, but this one's not used for traffic anymore. It used to be, and then they built a 3-arch bridge on the other side for traffic.
You've been reading the guidebook again, haven't you?
Yeah. Pretty lovely.
There's an arrow indicating which arch to use. Pershore Great Bridge was built in the late 15th century, then remodelled in the 17th and 18th centuries. The central arch was enlarged around 1635 when the River Avon was made navigable from Tewkesbury to Stratford via Pershore. In 1920, the highways became the responsibility of the county council, and Pershore New Bridge was built in 1926. There's more visitor moorings just there. Coming up again, boy? You're funny, boy, aren't you? You can't decide. Poppy, what are you gruffing about? Can't even see him or her. chilly, hasn't it?
Yeah.
It's not a very direct route, is it?
It's not. So the place we parted from Pershore, which is over there, and we're actually heading to Tewkesbury, which is over there, and we're going this way. So yes, strange one.
Quicker in a car. Coming up to Comberton Quay visitor moorings there on the left hand side. But we're going to keep going and hoping to get to Tewkesbury today. Keep this stack of Waterways Worlds magazines. I've just found the one for the Severn where we're heading to, and the Gloucester and Sharpness Canal. So we can have a look at that guide there. Cruising the mighty Severn and the Gloucester and Sharpness Canal. We'll have a read of that later before we get there. And there's the one on the Avon as well that we didn't hunt out before we started cruising on the Avon. Oh well. There's the section we're looking for now for Tewkesbury. That wind's picked up again, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's quite strong. Chilly.
Making lunch quickly just before we get to the next lock. I'm trying to get this gate closed, but it's really hard. Gonna let some water in and hopefully it will close the lock gate. This lock is really unusual. It's got a swing bridge over the lock. Because this is a public footpath across the lock, over the swing bridge, and then down that footpath there. He's going to see if he can close the gates a little bit easier than I could. Couldn't get it to move anymore. Dislodge something by opening it again. Okay, that worked. The force of the water closed that gate shut. Hamish is barking again. It's always a sad sight to see a sunken narrowboat. There's a swing bridge back in place now. That was hard work. That lock was definitely hard work. Gates are really heavy. Need to remember to release the catch to do the swing bridge, which I didn't at first. And there's the sluices, managing the levels of the river. We're approaching the Swan's Neck, where you can see on the map that the river takes a 180 degrees turn. Eckington Bridge was built in the 1720s. It consists of 6 arches built of red sandstone. Just checked the forecast and it said windy conditions are going to continue for the rest of the day.
It certainly is. It's supposed to be August. It feels like November.
Like narrowboats are in the minority around here. We just helped this lovely solo boater with his boat named Jasper up the lock. I just told him that we had our old boy Jasper that we lost a couple of years ago. But it's lovely to see his name on the side of a boat. Chatting to one of our subscribers over there who moors up in Evesham. These gates are a lot easier to open than the last ones. Really tight lock landing to get into and out in the wind for sure, wasn't it?
Yeah. I was worried putting the back end in there that would get stuck and not be able to get out again.
Okay, that says Eckington Sluice, so I'm guessing they put over that bridge thing and it says no entry on it when the water's too high. You've been waving, trying to get somebody to hold.
I did.
And one of them did.
They did.
You're happy now?
Yeah.
As we approached Tewkesbury, we were hoping that there were going to be spaces available on the Avon Navigation Trust visitor moorings that we'd read about. Just under the bridge on the left, there's visitor moorings for the old Black Bear pub. This was our backup plan, but we'd heard they can be very noisy when the pub's busy. There also seemed to be spaces on the bank opposite, but we weren't sure if they were private or not. There was no signage and very mixed stories from locals about who owns them. Fans of Only Fools and Horses like us will love the name of this boat. It wasn't the best spot next to a wall, but we were happy to find a mooring space. Where have you been?
Got my mooring permit. Really nice. Nice lockkeeper, ever so friendly. Told us where to go in the town for pubs and that kind of thing. The only thing he did say is over the next couple of days there's a 9 metre tide at Gloucester, 9 metre swell. So we'll need to check in with the lockie at Gloucester, and he'll tell us what time to go or not to go, basically, because what he said is there'll be debris coming in on the tide that comes over the tops of the weirs because it's high, and that debris will be coming up to meet us, so he said there'll be logs and all kinds of things, so not good. So we'll see. Anyway, we'll see what happens.
Are we still doing this then?
I think we're still doing it, unless they tell us don't do it, of course, then we'll follow that advice. He just said check with them because they'll tell you the best time to arrive so you're not hitting that high tide, you know, and all the logs and things. Or wait till they're going back down and then you arrive after when they're going back out. So.
And this is going out onto the Severn?
Yeah. Yeah, the Severn's just there. Literally we go down through the lock, there's a few hundred yards of Avon left, and then that takes us onto the Severn. So it's going to be fun.
I don't know if I want that sort of fun.
I'm going to put this in the window anyway.
And after the excitement of the day's cruising, we took a walk round Tewkesbury, looking for somewhere suitable to celebrate Pete's birthday the next day. And visited the fabulous Tewkesbury Abbey. Tewkesbury Abbey is world renowned for being one of the UK's greatest examples of medieval architecture. The abbey was consecrated in 1121, and it thrived for many years until the time of the Reformation, when in 1540 the monastery was dissolved on the orders of Henry VIII, and most of the monastery buildings were lost. But the abbey itself survived after being saved by the townsfolk of Tewkesbury. They paid £453, an enormous sum in the 16th century, to buy their parish church, and in doing so they saved a magnificent building for future generations. Today, much of the abbey remains unchanged from the early 12th century.
the locky here at Tewkesbury, and he suggests I give you a call because you've got some quite high tides. Yeah. Okay, situation is it's going to be a high one, 9.2 metres, so it's going to come above the weirs and the river's going to be tidal. So that's midday. It says arrive mid-afternoon earliest, really. The only other thing is he's having some work done on the lock tomorrow, and there could be divers in the lock, so they might not be able to let us in anyway. So I'll call him in the morning, see if they finished the work today. If they haven't, then we might need to defer here and then ask about a stay on here. We're limited to 2 nights, so I'll have to ask if we can get an extra night or see what they can do for us. So don't want to go all the way down there and end up being turned back, do we?
No, definitely not.
So, all right, it's going to be interesting.
We'd chosen the Old Black Bear for Pete's birthday lunch, and our son Alex and his girlfriend Hannah came to celebrate with us. The pub has a huge smoker in the garden, and smoking meat was one of Pete's passions when we lived in Texas. He had his own smoker in the garden there, so this was the perfect place for us to celebrate his birthday.
Loaded fries.
Wow,
But you've never seen loaded fries like these ones before.
they're very loaded.
And the chicken.
Chicken for me.
The chicken. Briskets.
What's that green on there?
I don't know.
Chimichurri.
I'm
Oh,
into
okay.
it.
And then I got some extra loaded fries just to share.
I'm loving these bowls.
Me too.
Lovely, lovely, brilliant, nice, eh?
These are not the best moorings, as they're right by a high wall, which is hard to get on and off, especially with the dogs. Right by the flour mill, but the boat behind us has just left, which is on the proper pontoon, so we're going to move the boat back a little bit. This is way better now. I can actually get on and off easily. This is better, isn't it, Pop? You can get on and off easily there. We don't have to carry you. And we loved the Old Black Bear pub so much that we went back that same evening for their quiz night. New top matches the boat nicely. Join us next time as we leave Tewkesbury in the River Avon and head on to the River Severn and arrive in Gloucester. Thank you so much to everybody that supports our channel through Buy Me a Coffee and YouTube Super Thanks. And as always, thank you to all of our viewers. If you've enjoyed this video, hit the thumbs up and give us a like. And leave us a comment and tell us what you thought.
I need you are my fire. I want you to know that every time you're away, I long for you so much I can find